Hi, welcome to the video. If this is your first time here, my name is Sylvia, and today we're going to be talking about 5 things you could be doing to your hair and skin that are aging you. Now, I've accumulated these tips over the last 15 years of being a hairdresser. I've had the privilege and honor of working on the most amazing, most diverse group of people. I have learned so much from my clients, as well as mistakes and things that I've done through my 20s and 30s. And I'm going to be sharing all of that with you today. So I'm almost 40, and I personally think that my skin looks better now than when I was 26 or 27. Also, your 20s is just like not a time where you take care of your skin or yourself, or it definitely wasn't for me. And I love that both hair and skin are things that you can overcome damage and you can kind of reverse signs of aging. Now, small disclaimer, I have nothing against aging. My philosophy when it comes to this is basically trying to look like the best version of myself, not necessarily trying to look younger. So I always want to improve my skin, I always want to improve my hair. I want my hair to be growing and thriving at all times. And typically these are things that we associate that with aging, they get worse. And I don't believe in that. I just want to evolve into the best absolute version of myself at every stage of life. All right, as a hairdresser, I could not start this video without talking about the scalp. I think it's one of the things that is the most ignored in all of our beauty regimens, and I think it's probably one of the most important. I personally feel best when I have a good hair day, more so than a good skin day. There's just something about your hair that I just feel like feels like you. Even if you color it, it's that crown you never take off. And you can't have good hair without good, proper scalp care. So one of the best things you can start doing for your scalp is keep it somewhat cleansed. Washing your hair every 1 or every 2 weeks is not good on the scalp. I know it's good on the color, it's good on like your hair shaft, but it's not great on the scalp. And I think sometimes we get so protective of our hair and our color that we ignore the scalp. So keeping your scalp somewhat cleansed through the week, oiling it at least once or every 2 weeks, and using a good scalp serum. I think this is like, again, one of those things that's just way overlooked, and Acton Acre makes an absolute amazing scalp serum, probably like one of the best in its category. And Acton Acre is a brand that I feel like is just, I have no affiliation with them whatsoever, but the owner of this company became a trichologist, which is someone who is specialized in scalp care. And she actually was the one that inspired me to take a trichology class about 1.5 years ago. And I feel like it completely changed my approach for hair and hair care. If you don't know where to start, you want to do something good for your now hair and your future hair, start with the scalp serum. All right, next tip is hydrate and moisturize your skin. I had a client years ago. She was 76 years old, and I swear I wanted to be her. She was just so cool, plus her skin was just to die for. But the main thing she said, she was like, in your 20s and 30s, you're so worried about acne and you'll strip the crap out of your skin and then you will deal with those consequences later. And she was like, please hydrate your skin. Do not become a slave to your acne or the prevention of that, and just really focus on the hydration of your skin. And that has always stuck with me. But then with my pregnancy, I developed the driest skin, and I literally did not know how to deal. Like, hydration was not something I cared or worried about. So being such a newbie in learning and wanting to hydrate my skin, I've gone down a rabbit hole of trying to hydrate my skin without putting garbage ingredients on my skin. And I feel like with like lotions and body creams, there's just so much unnecessary ingredients. And finally, it's when I found OSEA's body oil and my life changed. Which is why today I am proudly partnering with OSEA to bring you my favorite current body oil. Their whole line is clean products, mother and daughter team. They fragrance their product with essential oils. It smells very citrusy, very clean. And I know that when I'm putting this on my skin, it's every ingredient that's in the bottle is effective and functional. So it's meant to hydrate. There's not all these other emollients and just unnecessary ingredients that my skin is absorbing. Super easy to use. You can apply on dry or damp skin. I love that the bottle comes with a pump. Super easy to apply. And now I am going to show you how dry my skin actually gets. And I know this is embarrassing. Again, never had to deal with this issue, but here we are. So here's my secret for glowing summer skin. I'm using OSEA's algae oil. I like to massage a generous amount onto my super dry skin. It is also vegan and cruelty-free. It visibly improves a sagging skin to give you a more toned and sculpted look. So OSEA is clinically proven to instantly improve skin's elasticity and deliver deep moisturization. It's rich yet never greasy. The oil always leaves my skin feeling hydrated and looking glowy as ever. And so if you need to buy one product this summer, this is it. So whether you're dry like me or you're just looking to look extra glowy, your glowy skin is the only summer accessory you'll need. So click link in the description box and enter code LGLOW for your 10% off. And so as I said, as I'm nearing 40, just my main goal with my skin, scalp, is all about hydration. All right, the next tip is sun protection. Now, I'm gonna let you in on a little secret that I'm not that proud of, but I have never ever worn sunscreen on my face. I mean, unless I'm like at the beach for a week. Because I wear makeup, I just always felt it never looked good under makeup. It always left this weird white cast. I am a true believer that the body does need some sun. I am Mediterranean. I feel like my body thrives when I get low doses, amounts of sun on my skin. There's a ton of research done on this, also on like what it does for your eyes and kind of syncing your circadian rhythms for better sleep and all of that. So again, I know this can be a little bit controversial, and I have had my skin tested for like sun damage. And honestly, they're always like impressed at how little sun damage I have on my face. I know some foundations I've used have some sort of sun protection built into it. Not that that's enough for like the whole day, but another reason why I avoided sunscreens were because they tended to break me out. And again, they didn't look good under makeup. They definitely don't really look good on their own. Anyway, they've definitely come a long way, and there are incredible sunscreens, mainly mineral sunscreens that work better and are much better for your skin versus like a chemical sunscreen. I personally love the Skinny Confidential, which is another fellow influencer. Her tinted caffeinated sunscreen is actually incredible. My facialist recommends it, and I've heard a lot of dermatologists actually say that they love it as well. So that's one thing that I've started doing only on my face. But one thing that I've gotten a lot more careful with is with wearing hats and actually protecting and shielding my face from the sun. I don't know if you've seen these, but like, or you can see under a special lens when someone has applied sunblock and there's so many areas that are still missing. So I think way more effective is wearing like a shield or something that's actually blocking the sun rays from your face. I've only been doing that for, I would say, maybe 6 or 8 months now. And I do notice a difference in my skin. I also feel like that it hydrates better. I don't know what the connection is, but I do feel like my skin is so much happier since I've been doing this. I do get 20 minutes of sunshine every morning. This is kind of my meditation / reading time before Amelia wakes up. It is my me time, and I definitely try and get this in. I feel like I'm doing more than one good thing for myself, but I'm very careful to always wear a hat. Even better if I can keep my face in the shade. Okay, the next one is avoiding retinols. And I know what you're thinking. Again, this one's a little bit controversial, and I've gone back and forth with this one. Probably maybe 6-7 years ago, I got cystic acne. I've always kind of had breakouts here and there, hormonal ones, I guess, like most women. But I'd never had cystic acne. And then it kind of started kind of around my cheek area. Then it was like down to my chin. It was on my forehead, and it literally was painful. I had heard people talk about this. I didn't understand. And I used to always think like, how did they let their skin get to that? Like once you start seeing a little bit, like wouldn't you take care of it? I was in that cycle and I didn't know what to do. I was wearing more makeup to cover it up, which I think was only exacerbating the problem. And finally, I went to a dermatologist, and They wanted to put me on medication, which I didn't want to do. Then I saw a facialist, and I love that she was just so abrupt. Like when she started taking off my makeup, she was just like, oh wow, this is really bad. And in my mind, I'm like, oh, you haven't seen worse than this? Like this is actually scaring you. But she was like, you need to get on retinol. And she like gave me a whole, it was like $800 worth of skincare. And I was so overwhelmed, but it was simple. It was like 2 steps. Anyway, I came home and did that. Within a week, my skin was probably like 80% better, and there was no longer any pain, and my love for retinols began. And she was like, you're gonna do like the very lowest dose. And even though that worked for me, when my skin was at its worst, somehow in my mind, I was like, I need to up the amount. I need to use a much stronger version. And then my skin was always peeling, and then I would go like a month without using it, and then my skin would get worse, and then I would use a higher grade version of retinol, and it was just like this back and forth, and I just had this weird love-hate relationship with it. I know we all keep hearing about, you know, protecting the skin's barrier and like why it's so important for the skin to essentially kind of have like its own immunity. And finally one day I was in bed and I was like, I know that retinols essentially strip the outer layer of the skin. I wonder if that's the barrier, or is the barrier beneath that? And it was like I couldn't shake off this like question, and I, in bed, like started doing all this research on my phone, which I try not do. And it was just like, oh, this is why like retinols are controversial. I strongly advise you to like get information on the retinol that you are using. There are alternatives. So essentially retinols are synthetic vitamin A, and there are ways to get like the real vitamin A that doesn't strip your outer layer of your skin. So if it is something you do depend on, there is that option. There is a skincare expert that I follow that talks a lot about this. I will link her page below. And anyway, she just has a lot of good information. She really is a true expert on the skin, but it's definitely worth exploring if it's something that you've been doing and your skin is, you know, I kept thinking, if this is so good for my skin, you would think that over time it would just be healed or it would be fine. The thing with retinols is that they give you this false sense that your skin is better because essentially you've added trauma to it. So then in its healing stage, it almost feels like you have more collagen and your skin's tighter. But again, that's so temporary. So you have to keep doing it in order to continuously get those results. But then when you think about like the long-term effects that has on your skin, you're actually aging the skin. So again, like if you're doing this in your like 20s and 30s and it's like, oh, my skin is looking great right now while I'm doing it, you're actually compromising your future skin in order to have this temporary, just a couple of days result of like slightly tighter skin. All right, and my last tip is regarding your hair. There's a million things we could be doing to better, to hydrate and all of that to our hair, and I've probably talked about it ad nauseum on my channel already. One thing though that I feel like again can kind of get overlooked is your hair tools, your hot styling tools. I feel like in all of my career of doing hair and having the most amazing clients, always willing to do the next best thing, to really invest in their hair, that would buy all the amazing hair care and products to, you know, to protect their color and to maintain this beautiful appointment they just paid for. But one of the things, or a mistake I kept seeing over and over again, is they would be using an $80 shampoo, a $90 serum, and then use like a Conair blow dryer. And we sometimes couldn't get to the bottom of like, why is your hair so dry and unhappy and fatigued? And I can't stress the importance of a good quality heat tool if you are using these at least once a week. And I get it. There's definitely a financial investment there. Nice, good quality hair tools are more expensive, and I totally understand that. But I'm talking about from my own personal experience and both seeing my clients with this same issue. Typically not great hair tools don't last very long. And if I'm being honest, every hair dryer, every flat iron, every curling iron that's been of good quality has never just stopped working. You should look at what you tend to do more often. If you blow dry your hair every time you wash it, obviously a good blow dryer is necessary for you. And then with curling irons, there's definitely, those are maybe like the least threatening to your hair, but a flat iron, if you think about it, the hair is sandwiched between these two hot plates with nowhere for that hair to escape. So if those plates are not titanium or ceramic and like good quality, and the technology with the heat is also very important, because again, less quality tools, they have like this cheaper motor that like emits light. So instead of this like consistent heat through the plate, it's just like shocking this like crazy amount of heat on the hair. So again, if this is something you do often, something to kind of think about and possibly change if you can. And those are all my tips on what you can do to improve and avoid some aging with your hair and skin. I hope you found this video helpful. Once again, thank you OSEA for sponsoring a portion of today's video, and I will have all the information down below so that you too can check them out. All right, thank you so much for watching. I love you, and I'll see you in the next one.